Hello, folks. In focus today at Georgetown SCS, the branding power of global sports events. We'll be covering how global sporting events like the Olympic Games and the Super Bowl create powerful opportunities for brands to reach massive audiences, shape cultural moments, and build lasting global recognition. So Wendy, first question for you would be, why do global sporting events like the Olympic Games and the Super Bowl attract so much brand investment?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think when we think about the lives we live today, the chaos, the constant bombardment of things, there's so few moments where something is happening in real time. And sporting events are absolutely something that we want to watch live. We don't want to miss out. Mm-hmm. We have like a mass FOMO. And so they create huge, wide viewership opportunities that I almost can think of nothing else compares to today.
In your experience and as an observer and a practitioner, do you see how the techniques brands use, that are there any that are unique to sports versus other types of branding opportunities?
I don't know that I'd say they're 100% unique, but I think the opportunity to have a moment in time and then build around that events. So for example, a Super Bowl, mm-hmm. you can not only have the moment of the Super Bowl, but you can have the pre-Super Bowl, right? What ads are coming out? You can do a pop-up outside of the stadium. You can do tie-ins with the Super Bowl. And then afterwards you can do a what happened, right? And all the follow-on. So I don't know that it's 100% unique, but it's one of the most integrated moments where I can reach you both before, during, and after. And that makes it really special because of everything I can build around it.
That's certainly true. So just to think about this a little bit more, in such crowded global moments, and we've described a couple of them, mm-hmm. How can brands stand out and create something memorable for audiences? So we talked about what's in it for them, but how do they go about creating a memorable moment that people will be talking about, like a Super Bowl ad the next day? So many wonderful impressions that came from the great storytelling that took place during the Winter Olympics. How do you do that?
Yeah, and I think, again, challenging, but I think one other cool thing about sporting events is it gives you an opportunity to target your audience in a unique way. So we know that people who watch the Winter Olympics are this type of an audience, these ages, these professions, right? Mm-hmm. We know that people that watch tennis have a certain maybe income level, and we can create, again, around one event, multiple opportunities. So let's just take the Super Bowl. I can get my high-end consumer, right? I'm Rolex, I'm Cartier. I can do something really elevated for them, right? Cocktails in a box seat. But I can also get my just sort of, more average kind of typical person who just wants to maybe play video games. Mm-hmm. I can have a setup. I've seen Nintendo and other video companies. I can have a setup for them. So again, it gives me these opportunities even within one event to do these really cool, fun activations for my brand in unique ways. Levi's, I think, is interesting. They came out with sort of a Levi's, Super Bowl memorabilia kind of new jean. So again, whatever my brand is, I can target it in a unique way for the event that I'm doing.
What the NFL has been doing in that regard, especially with younger women, has been really remarkable. Yeah. So the NFL expanded its brand in so many different ways in recent years. Women, young people generally with an act like Bad Bunny, that has to be respected by marketers like yourself.
Oh, I think the NFL, super interesting work around, yes, getting an audience that wasn't traditionally a football fan. I'm a diehard fan, I always have been, but bringing them in, Taylor Swift helped as well. So bringing people into the game. I think internationally, the NFL what they've done has been genius, mm-hmm. right? So having games outside of the US to build that fan base. I think also I look at brands like FIFA, and they're kind of doing it from the reverse, right? So really sort of a hardcore European, Latin American base, bringing that excitement into the US. And so I think creating ways for me to attach, even if I'm not so into the sport itself, how can I make it accessible? The last thing I think is kind of cool, the Winter Olympics, I think, is another, if you compare the Winter Olympics to the Summer Olympics, the sports in the Winter Olympics for a huge part of the global population are maybe not ones we're as familiar with. But I think the Winter Olympics does a particularly great job of making me care about the curling team. Or making me care about the biathlon or those sports where they're skiing and shooting guns and things like that, because they're attaching me to the people. And I think, again, from a marketing perspective, they attach me to the people, and then they attach me to those brands that are helping those people.
Absolutely.
It's genius.
Wendy, thank you for sharing your insights and all the information. We really appreciate it. I enjoyed our conversation. Thank you. And thanks everyone out there for watching.